Hello, I'm Alan, and welcome to today's edition of Alan's Cycling Adventures. Today we are getting out of Dodge and heading to Great Bend, Kansas. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or ideas for future editions of Alan's Cycling Adventures, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Well, without further ado, let's ride. For the first time on this trip, I really did not feel great this morning. I didn't want to say anything to any of the other people in our group. I didn't want to sound like a complainer. I didn't want to feel like I didn't want anyone to feel sorry for me. But I felt pretty awful this morning. My legs felt heavy and sluggish. I felt sluggish. I just felt weak. I think it was a case of yesterday's ride was a really tough one, and I just didn't recover well enough. I just didn't eat enough carbs, and so the next day my body was not ready to go. Combined with the day after day after day of riding, and we are 7 days of riding into the longest stretch of riding on the tour, 9 consecutive days, and I think my body is just ready for that rest day, which is fortunately that we've got tomorrow and the day after to ride. And then we get our rest day. In combination with that, I've got various aches and pains. My hands hurt from holding the handlebars. I've got a sore on the top of my left foot from early in the tour, tightening my shoe down too hard, and through the tongue, the wires that pull the shoe tight cut into the top of my foot, and so that's been hurting since. I've got a couple of saddle sores. I've been dealing with them and fighting through the pain, but they're not ideal. So, I guess the moral of the story is, on a trip of this magnitude, you're bound to have some physical issues along the way. I did go out for a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs, though, tonight. Ran into a bunch of people from my group. We all then walked over to another place, an ice cream place, and we all had ice cream. And I'm drinking water right now, and so hopefully by tomorrow morning I will feel recharged and hydrated and ready to go. Either way, I'm going tomorrow. But tomorrow is a late start, and it is a shorter ride. It's only about 64 and a half miles. And it's not a climbing day. It looks like there's about 850 feet of elevation according to the cue sheet. So hopefully, it's another downhill day. Whatever it is. I've got tomorrow and the next day, and then I will be getting in some relaxation and recharging. In terms of this video, well, first of all, I would have to say that today's ride's challenge was the cumulative stress on my body from the previous rides, especially the stress from yesterday's ride, which was with the hardest wind that we've had so far. By the way, I also this morning was feeling a bit psyched out by the weather forecast. I was expecting the wind to be not quite as bad as yesterday, but similar. It actually turned out not to be. Well, you'll hear in a couple of points in the video where I did a couple of real-time segments that it was quite windy. You could hear the wind howling. However, there was no headwind component. It was, for a good part of it, a direct crosswind. And then, as luck would have it, it did turn into a quartering tailwind by the end. So that was very much appreciated. We rode today from, well, here comes the first of my real-time segments. Well, I don't believe this is the halfway point of our trip, but check out that sign. New York, 1,561 miles. San Francisco, 1,561 miles. Midway, USA, Kinsley, Kansas. So please forgive me. You will hear this song again when we get to our actual halfway point, but I feel like I need to break into song. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Oh, living on a prayer. Living on a prayer. All right. I'm going to take some pictures around here and I will see you back on the road. Well, I'm certainly no John Bon Jovi, but that was fun. We rode today from Dodge City to Great Bend. I departed at 7:05 a.m. According to Strava, the weather was clear, temperature 55 degrees Fahrenheit with a feels like temperature of 54. The humidity was 68%, and the wind was 11.1 miles per hour from the southeast. Again, that may have been the wind speed, but that did not take into effect the gusts. I rode 86.89 miles today with an average moving speed of 15.1 miles per hour and a maximum speed of 24.3 miles per hour. I had a total moving time of 5 hours, 44 minutes, 19 seconds, and an elapsed time of 7 hours, 2 minutes, 27 seconds. My average heart rate today was 111 beats per minute, and my max heart rate was 136 beats per minute. According to Garmin and Strava, I burned 1,591 calories, and I had an average cadence of 56 RPM and a maximum cadence of 83 RPM. We did have a pretty big discrepancy between Strava's map data and Garmin's barometric data today, regarding the elevation gain. In Strava, I adjust my elevation to Strava's map data because I trust it more. However, it was quite funny because across the board, to a person, everyone who had a Garmin had much higher elevation gain than what the Strava map data would indicate. And I think every one of them just left it as is. They wanted that extra vertical climb. To each their own. I had a total of 17,924 pedal strokes today. And according to Strava, I had an average power output of 76 watts. The route today, once again, was along highways, but they weren't too bad. We went Route 50 to Route 183 to Route 56. I will say that there was a stretch of Route 50 where the pavement was brand new and gorgeous and looked so smooth, and the shoulder was covered with gravel. In some parts, a fair amount of gravel, kind of deep, the kind where you slide as you go through it. So, Kansas, please repave the shoulder along Route 50. Us cyclists would really appreciate it.
In terms of where we rode today, we started in Dodge City and we rode into Wright, then through Spearville, Bellefonte, O'Furl, which was where our sag was, our first sag. Then we rode into Ardell and then into Kinsley, which was the halfway point between San Francisco and New York City. Speaking of, that was the first musical interlude. I am coming up on the second, though. Here you go.
I am here at Prairie Rock. It is the highest point in the plains, and this view makes me want to break into song again. Just so you could see it as well, a photo would not do this justice. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed thy grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Alright, I'm going to enjoy this spot a little bit before I continue the last 10 or 15 miles to the hotel. See you on the road. You know what? I should have sung from up here. I didn't know that there was an up here until I walked around a little bit. But listen to that Kansas wind. It's more pronounced up here than it was down on the road, but it'll give you some idea of what we've been battling these last couple of days. Anyway, I will see you back on the road. I think I have less than 15 miles to go to the hotel.
Anyway, I'm running out of video and still have more voiceover, so I better pick it up. I rode through Nettleton, Garfield, Larned, where we turned onto these red brick roads that were bumpy and rough and not fun. Then we rode to Pawnee Rock, not Prairie Rock as I called it in my musical segment, but Pawnee Rock. Then we rode through Dundee, Anchorway, and finally we reached Great Bend. Tomorrow we are riding on to McPherson. It is about 64.5 miles, as I mentioned. Not too much climbing, it looks like. More descending than climbing. And we're getting a later start, which means an extra hour of sleep. By the way, for those of you who notice what time I post these videos, I have not lost my mind. Once again, I took an after-dinner nap, and when I woke up, I figured it's time to finish this video, write my blog post, and then go to bed for real. So here I am. Anyway, I told you what the challenge was. I would say that the reward was some of the sights that we saw along the way, especially Pawnee Rock. That was just gorgeous. When I reviewed the video, it did not do the amber waves of grain justice. It was beautiful in person. Anyway, that is all for now. See you tomorrow.
All I can say about today is wow. Considering I didn't feel well this morning, considering my legs didn't feel great today and still don't, I decided to cut it out, and I'm really glad I did. Anyway, tonight I'm gonna have a big plate of spaghetti for dinner from somewhere, and so until next time, stay safe out there.